Ready? 3, 2, 1. This just in, guys. Episode 9 starts right now. Do you like that?
Yeah. I guess.
Yes.
You sound like a 90s news reporter.
90s what?
News reporter.
Yeah. So we decided that we're going to kind of change up the way that we kind of format the podcast a little bit, which would be kind of cool. We're going to start with, this is going to be basically how it's going to run down. So we've agreed that we're going to do our Q&As, which are basically like the Patreon like level. So obviously if you've unlocked number 3, which is the $10 one, you can ask us a question every time we do a podcast, and then we'll go through that first. So first is gonna be a Q&A. Then if we ever have a guest, we'll have the guest talk speak thingy next. Then we're gonna do a news segment where
guest talk speak thingy.
Then we're gonna have the news thing, where basically we each kind of bring up one thing that we've seen in the news lately. Not that I read the news that often. Then a random fact of the day, which we're going to ask our friend Google here. Then we're going to have our random story of the day that we're each going to do. Then we're going to continue down to where we review a movie/show. Then a quote of the day, which we're going to make up ourselves. And advice of the day.
Wait, we're going to make up the quote?
Sure.
On the spot?
Sure.
What? I was not told that we're going to do that. You can do that.
I'll do
that. Can be yours.
I can do it. Okay. Saber's quote of the day.
Okay.
Saber's random quote of the day. Don't go outside without your mittens on.
That's advice.
Yeah. That's a quote of the day. Saber's quote.
Oh, that's a quote as well.
Random advice of the day, which is going to be like something either like good, funny, whatever we want to do. Once again, ours. And then we'll talk about stuff at the very end. So that's going to be what we're going to go down. Because we talked about it, we like the topics. But Rachel was kind of like, I didn't like how she didn't like how it was kind of just felt like, okay, next.
Yeah, I didn't feel like it flowed at all. Like it felt like it was stop, start. Like,
and I agree.
What do you think about this? Talk about it for 5 minutes, and then completely change gear. Like it just didn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't loving it.
So this will be kind of our new format of the show, and we'll see how you guys like it. And yeah, ready?
Sure.
Okay. So today's Q&A is by Kawhi. Trixie, unfortunately, didn't send me a message in time, so I'm just waiting for Trixie. Trixie has like 4 backlogged questions. So Trixie, if you're listening, get those questions because we want to answer them. Kawhi has 2 Q&As that she was questioned about. She has when you were a little kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I can think of 2 distinct things. One was I wanted to be...
Wait, hold on. What little kid... Are we talking like grade 1? Are we talking like 15 years old?
15 is not a little kid.
Okay, so we're talking like when we were like a kid and going, I want to be... Like when you're watching Toy Story when you're young? Okay.
What?
Okay.
What do you mean when you're watching Toy Story?
Never mind, go.
That's so specific.
Well, I was just thinking of like a
when
time.
you're little.
Yeah.
When you're little.
Yeah.
Not when you're a teenager.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, sometimes little can be a teenager.
No, like little kid. What is the first thing you remember?
My kid is going to be little until he's like 50.
What's the first thing you remember wanting to be?
Go on.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I can remember 2 things.
Mm-hmm.
First, I wanted to be a vet, which I think is pretty common.
Right.
Anyone who likes animals is like, I want to be a veterinarian. And then I learned that they have to like put animals down, and I was like, never mind. And then the second one, which was like very ambitious of me, was I want to work in an office. Literally, I can remember thinking, I want to work in an office where I have my own desk, and that was like a dream. And now that I do that, I'm like, what is wrong with me?
I'm trying to think of
why was that like what I aimed to do, was like work at a desk.
I'm trying to think of what I wanted to be, because like I definitely did not want to do anything with computers when I was younger, because like that was one before like I even had a computer. Like I didn't have a computer until I was probably like maybe 5, maybe I think.
5? You had a computer when you were 5?
I think so. I think I had like some crappy Windows 98 computer or something like that.
When you were 5, you had a computer.
Maybe, I don't even
think I had a computer until I was a teenager.
I remember I was at the house, like we used to live on a farm, and then we moved into like the city, Bellevue. And that's the first day that we moved in. My mom was like, oh, do you want a computer? And I was like, okay. And it had like it had like Math Circus on it. It had like some quiz game, and it had like a Commander Keen and a bunch of like, I remember playing DOS games and stuff. But anyways.
We had a computer like that, like one family computer. It was in the living room, but that wasn't until I was like 10 or 11. And also we weren't really allowed to use it unless it was for typing up like a book report. Like we weren't allowed to play games on it.
We had a Hewlett-Packard And it was like some crappy machine. But anyways, yeah. So I'm trying to find out of like what did I want to be? I'm trying to think because I thought about a lot of things. I remember at one time I wanted to be like I wanted to like manage a ton of money. I wanted to be like a bank person at one point because I kept like always being like I'm gonna save all my money. I remember I wanted I want to say like I wanted to do stuff with animals like sharks and stuff like that, but that's not true because I didn't really care about sharks when I was younger. I'd probably say yeah, definitely a bank person because I remember that was like definitely a thing.
Like you wanted to work in a bank?
Yeah, or like manage money, something like that. And then another one, I'm trying to think. Not a video game person because I grew up with video games, but it wouldn't make any sense for that. Like I didn't even know what Twitch was obviously back then, so it wasn't even a thing. Good question.
Sorry,
Good question. I remember I wanted to be like a little like kid actor. I was gonna say actress. A little kid actor for a little bit. Like when I saw Richie Rich was like a thing, I was like, oh my god, that'd be so cool to like be in a movie and stuff. But like obviously I would never do that. I remember for like a while I was like recording myself like doing like comedy skits and stuff. It was really weird.
Oh my god.
Then
Is
like,
there footage of this somewhere?
It was like the cringiest thing ever.
Is it just you?
It was just me talking.
Oh my god, where is it?
I don't even know. It's probably like some old hard drive.
Your mom
has
to have it somewhere. She never gets rid of anything. It's got to be somewhere.
I remember it was like a recording of me talking about like carrots and stuff. Like how old people like carrots.
We used to make videos like that, me and my sisters and my cousins, when we went on vacation together, because every summer we would do like a family vacation. But it wasn't, well, some of it was comedy skits, but mostly it was like we would make all the parents sit in the living room and then we would force them to watch us do performances.
Yeah.
Like we'd do like us dancing to like a song, or like we would do like as if we were putting on a show, and then we'd do commercials.
Oh my god.
And I remember our parents smoked at this time, and so did like my aunt and uncle, and we did this one commercial about how like smoking kills you. And they said they were like crying laughing. They were like, oh my gosh.
I remember acting like Ace Ventura on a VHS recording once.
Oh my gosh.
Twitch funny.
I'm gonna ask your mom.
Yeah. I don't know where the thing is nowadays, like, I like the way the VHS looks, like, when you watch back. Nowadays, you watch on your phone, you're like, it's too HD. You know what I mean?
I guess. It just looks old school.
Yeah. I like it. I like the old style of VHS.
Yeah.
What's your best Christmas present you've ever got? This is the second question, by the way.
Didn't we talk about this before? Oh,
maybe
it was birthday present.
It might have birthday. I think it was birthday present.
I'll
go first.
Okay.
Mine was so I said my parents never celebrated Christmas, but my parents found out that somebody that they knew that was not supposed to celebrate Christmas either was getting their kid like presents around Christmas, but weren't Christmas presents. So it was like, oh, you're just getting a present for no reason around Christmas time on Christmas Day. So, like, it was so stupid. They didn't celebrate Christmas, no lights, no nothing. But on Christmas Day, I woke up and there was a present like there for me. I was like, okay. And it was a PlayStation.
How old were you?
PlayStation 2. I don't know how old I was. I just remember coming out and then I was like, what the heck? There's a freaking PlayStation 2 on the floor. And then my dad was like, yep, it's for you. And I was like, no way. There was like a bunch of games with it.
It's pretty cool.
It was cool. And they're like, well, yeah, so-and-so was getting them or their kid a present. So I was like, why don't we just get one? I was like, okay. Not arguing.
Did that happen again, or was that the only year?
No, they did it like all the time, like every year. But like they never said this is for Christmas. They said, oh, this is because it's the day of where snow happens. And I was like, okay.
It was just like a no reason present.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, you've been good.
Yeah.
Yep. You go on now.
Favorite Christmas present. Honestly, it's so hard to like remember.
Yeah.
Over 30 Christmases, what my favorite present was. I think I said this before, that I once got a gift that was like my Christmas present, that my parents paid for me to go to Quebec.
That's cool.
So it was like a big trip. It was when I was in grade 10 and my whole French class went, and I was like, I have to go. And they were like, this will be your Christmas present. And I was like super excited about that. So, it was the first time I'd ever like been on a trip without my parents too. So it was like a big deal.
Yeah.
It was just me and my friends, and then obviously like the teachers. But I remember it being like I was like, I'm so grown up. I'm in Quebec without my parents.
See, my parents would never, like, my mom would, like, freak out if I, like, left the house for more than 10 minutes.
Well, if it was any of, like, the student organized trips, because you know how they would do, like,
Yeah, I know
like
what you
the
mean.
Europe trip and stuff, and it
Yep.
was, like, student, like, no way. My parents would not. But this was, like, an educational trip because it was to Quebec with the French class.
I remember for grade school, that was, like, a normal thing that they would, every year, they would go on, like, some big trip somewhere.
Yeah, they did that too.
And
I never
then-
was allowed to go to those.
And then they did something stupid like the year before we graduated. Like the people like did, I forget what happened. They did some dumb stuff or something. I think they were like drinking in like grade 8. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then they're like, okay, so our school has announced that they're no longer allowing this because like I guess like the parents council got together and was like, we're not doing that a lot. Like you're not allowing like anybody to do that. So the next year we went to Cedar Point and I was like, oh great. I was like,
yeah.
I hate roller coasters and I have to pay
Yeah.
to go on this stupid thing.
That was our grade 12, like, grad trip.
Yeah.
We went to Canada's Wonderland.
Grade 12.
Yeah.
High school?
Yeah.
Trip? Really?
Yeah? What is confusing about that?
I don't think we did anything for
There was
grade
always two senior trips. It was the Europe one, which I was never allowed to go on because
Yeah.
first of all, it was like $5,000. You know, it was super
12. I
expensive.
don't think that was a thing for our
and
school.
then we also did a like grad trip, which we went to Canada's Wonderland, and then we stayed overnight, and then we went to the Science Center.
I don't remember
And that was
anything-
super fun, even though I didn't go on any rides because I don't like roller
I
coasters.
semi remember not having that. I remember I remember graduating. So when we were graduating, they said, I remember this specifically. It was funny. They said, "Oh, you know, we want you to, go and rent your gowns and all that stuff." And I was like, "Okay." I'm like, so I was asking people in my class. I'm like, "It's really hot out because it was summer," and I'm like, "I'm gonna be wearing shorts," and everyone's like, "Yeah, me too, me too." And I get there and like the gowns are not like they're long, but they're not super long. And everybody's wearing black pants, so you can't tell that their like feet are there. And I'm in shorts, so every time I walk, you can see my like hairy legs walking through. And everyone's like, "Travis is wearing shorts." I'm like, "You guys told me you were wearing shorts."
Embarrassing.
And I was like, "Oh my god!" But I don't remember a grad trip at all. I remember like the prom, but that was like about it.
That sucks.
Yeah, must have been.
It was fun, and we stayed at a like I forget which university it was, but we stayed in their dorms.
Yeah, it must have
So
been.
we were like, we're in like we were
Yeah.
about to leave for school, but like it was like an experience.
That's
I
weird.
remember some kids snuck out in the middle of the night and they were smoking hookah,
Yeah.
and they got in trouble.
So-
That's it.
Was that wait? So.
So
oh, yeah,
my
that was
favorite present was probably the trip.
the trip. Okay.
Yeah.
Smoking hookah. So I was. So for regarding news, obviously there's so much news this week. Oh my god, kind of crazy.
None of it good.
None of it good. But I'll talk about.
I also didn't really prepare a news story.
Neither did I. I was just like, oh.
I didn't know that this was going to be the new format. Today,
Yeah, I was just kind of interested. I'm like, I don't watch the news. I don't care about the news, but obviously, like in social media, it kind of gets like pushed in there a little bit.
I mean, I used to watch the news a lot more in my last position because there was like a TV there.
Yeah.
And it always had news on it. And I used to be very up to date, but nowadays I don't really.
Yeah.
Unless it's on like Instagram, I don't really see it.
Yeah, for me, obviously, it was kind of like I was like, oh, I heard about like the Australia fires and stuff, but I didn't know how bad they were until looking at them,
Yeah,
and it's
really
crazy.
bad. It's very sad.
So, it's just nuts.
You
Like,
should get your stream to donate today or something.
Yeah, well, I did a donation.
Like,
I did a donation.
Share like a link to like a thing and be like.
That's
you
what I was
know,
thinking. Yeah, something interesting like that.
Because yeah, it's really bad. I can't imagine living there and like we get wildfires in Canada, but not to that. Like that's insane.
Yeah,
Like the whole country is on fire.
I know. And like when I was looking at the stuff, like they were talking about how the prime minister is like not doing anything and all this other stuff, but it's one of those things where like people always say that the words like out of sight, out of mind. You know what I mean? Like you don't. If it's
I
not,
also saw something briefly. I didn't really read it a lot, but it said that the like CO2 emissions from the fire, it's going to like the amount of damage it's going to cause our atmosphere, and the amount of years it's going to take for that to like clear.
I think it's just kind of shitty that you have all these issues with like the world, like you have all these issues with like global warming and whatever else, obviously. But instead of fixing our like, global warming and all the stuff that actually matters, people would rather start fights with each other. Like, I think that's just bogus. I think that's just so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's just like...
It's because the greedy rich people run the world.
Yeah.
And they only care about themselves and their own interests.
Yeah. And it's just sad because, like...
And they're all old white guys who are like, we're not going to be around to see the bad thing that happened anyway.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Like...
Yeah, like, even when...
That's someone else's problem, and they wash their hands of it.
Yeah,
and walk
I know.
Away.
But yeah, so it's crazy. Like, if you guys have not seen anything about the Australia fires, you should really look at it. I mean, you got people say things like, well, the Amazon fires are a lot worse. No, they're not. They're like 1/10, I think, of what's going on. Not that it matters, but
I haven't looked into it that deeply to know.
They said something like, so the Amazon fires were 2.6. The Amazon fires were 2.6 million acres or something, and then the Australia fires is 12.7 or something.
Sad.
So you're talking like 1/10. Not that doesn't matter. Like 100-acre fire is still shitty, anyways. You know what I mean? Like, it's always hard to kind of like figure out like how big that is. But like it's pretty big, so it's kind of crappy that like you have all these people in position of power, and like people always say things like oh the prime minister can't do anything, and because like he has to talk to other people and they have to have funds and all that stuff. But I don't know, it's just crazy. I think that instead of people like arguing amongst themselves and causing havoc in other countries, they should be focusing on like fixing these issues.
They won't though, because it doesn't make them money.
I know it's gonna be hard for like it's kind of sucks because like we have to deal with like what's going to be happening after all this, after people go, oh yeah, shit, we fucked up, global warming is real. You know what I mean? I've
said this before to you, like in our own conversations, that I work with some people who don't believe global warming is real.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so frustrating because you're never going to be able to, not never, but for most people, you're not going to be able, if they feel that strongly, you're not going to be able to convince them otherwise.
Yeah.
And so they're the people that are just like, screwing up the world for the rest of us.
I think a lot of it doesn't necessarily mean that they don't believe in it. It means that they don't.
No, he straight up was like, that's not real.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I don't think you understand.
I think it's a lot of like set in your ways kind of thing. Like I don't know, it's hard to kind of talk about that stuff. But
honestly though, like I don't even believe that as an excuse, because when I was younger, I was set in my ways about certain thoughts, and if scientific evidence proves me to be wrong, I'm not going to be so stubborn to be like, no, I believe what I believe and I'm right. I'm going to believe the facts, like the cold hard facts that are shown in front of me.
Yeah, I know.
Instead of my own opinion.
I think like the difference between aliens and global warming are two different things. Somebody's like, I don't believe in aliens.
What does that have to do with
I'm just saying, like, if I'm just trying to compare, like, if somebody says, I don't believe in aliens, and then you go, yeah, well, aliens exist. They're like, oh, I can't see them. You know what I mean? But like, if you can't, some people are like, if you can't see it, then they don't believe it, kind of thing.
But you can literally see it happening around us.
I know.
You can see it happening around us every day.
The fact that like,
look at the winter we've had.
I know the winter that we had has been like,
Nothing.
50s and 60s.
It snowed once.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I don't know.
And the wildfires that are happening.
Nuts.
And the polar ice caps that are disappearing. And the wildlife that's dying. Mm-hmm. It's just. Yeah.
I think global warming is one of those topics that as soon as you get on it, it's like, it's like either you get really angry about it and like, but you realize that nothing's getting done about it.
It stresses me out a lot. Like if I start thinking about climate change too much, I get like just very stressed out.
I know, I could tell.
Because it's just like we have to live in this world, and like our children have to live in this world, and why do people not care?
I don't know. I think unfortunately it's the people that...
And I also get very overwhelmed because I'm like, what can I do? It's like, okay, well, CO2 emissions are such a big part of it, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, I have to drive to work. I live 20-minute drive away from work. How would I get to work if I didn't drive my car? Like the world's just not set up in a lot of ways right now to like allow us to make a big change individually.
A lot of people complain about like these like, gigantic car industries and stuff, and they're like, just make only electric. And then they do, and then people are like scared of electric because they don't know if it's gonna last and if all this stuff, right? So
they don't make it affordable enough yet either, right?
The problem is that the thing is when you look at things like that and people say make it affordable, make a $5,000 electric car. That's not an electric car that's gonna last. I'm sure they can create a car that is like $5,000, but how long is it going to last you? 2 years, 3 years? You know, people want longevity because then
But this is the root of the problem. It's all about greed. It's the companies want to make money instead of save the world.
But they also have to pay their employees as well too, right?
Trust me, Travis.
I know
these big car companies have their CEOs are billionaires.
No, I know.
They could afford to save the world a little bit, but they don't because they don't want to.
Yeah.
Because they rather have the money.
Right. I know.
They could make an affordable electric car, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
They just won't.
I don't know. I'm just saying that, like, I think that certain companies have to do certain things in order to get themselves down that road first, but I don't know. I think it's kind of like everyone realizes that global warming's a thing now, and now they're looking at these companies to do stuff, and these companies are like, okay, we have to hurry up and like put the next models out there to electric, but we don't want to, you know. I
think
know.
the majority of the companies are not doing stuff. That's the problem. People are going, do something, because me as a person, I can stop using grocery bags, I can stop using plastic straws, I can recycle more. Like, there's little things you can do, but sure, that makes an impact if everyone does it, but the majority of our like issues with climate change come from like emissions and like waste and stuff like that coming from these massive corporations.
Mm-hmm.
And without them committing and making like actual changes to the way they do things,
But I think
nothing's going to change.
Yeah, but we know global warming is not just the auto industry, right?
No. I'm saying just corporations in general. Like the farming industry, everything. Like, it would have to be a massive global shift in the way that we do things.
Good luck with that.
I know. That's why it's so stressful, because it's like we have such little control over what these companies do.
No, I know. I mean,
and it's like, what do you do?
Pretty much
How do you get them to make changes?
It'll be one of those things where it's too late almost.
Well, that's what they say. They say we have 12 years.
Yeah.
And if we don't make a massive change in 12 years, then the world is done for. Like, we're screwed. There's no, it's the breaking point. Like, that's the turning point. After those 12 years, it's beyond saving.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
And like, that doesn't mean that, like, 20 years from now we're all dead. It just means that, like, that is the turning point for us to make a big global change.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think it depends on like who becomes like the global leaders and all that other stuff, and
which is it's so important not to have like these crappy leaders that start wars for money.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
And why you have to like vote, and like that is the things that you can do.
The
right?
thing is that
you can make your like political decisions based off of how you want your life to pan out.
I don't know. I still believe, like, I understand, like, we voted for whoever for Canada Prime Minister and stuff, but at the end of the day, they can, at the end of the day, I'm sure they can do a lot, but I mean, what can they, like, how much stuff can they really do? Like, I don't know.
They could do a lot. If all of them got together and thought, hey, you know what? Let's not destroy this earth anymore. They could do a lot.
It's hard
to
to
make the laws.
Imagine you had a group of people, like, say you took, like, 50 people, 50 random people, and you put them in a room, and you said, okay, today we're all gonna order the same. Like, I'm just gonna compare it to something. If you said to yourself, okay, we're gonna take 50 people in a room, we're all gonna come up together and vote, and we're gonna talk about the same thing, we're all gonna agree to the same thing. It's very hard to do that, I think.
Yeah, but that all comes back to what I was saying before. It's just a bunch of selfish old white guys.
Yeah.
Like, it's not hard if you stop thinking about your own selfish interests.
I know.
And you start thinking about, what kind of world am I leaving for people?
Yeah.
Like, my job as a politician is to make the world a better place for the citizens of my country and for the citizens of the countries that I interact with.
I think a lot of it is too is that,
and instead it's like the political system is broken, and it's all just like, I want to be better than my opponent.
it's not necessarily that, it's I want to be in here I want to be in this position as long as I can.
They just want power. It's just
I don't know. Well.
So I guess moral of the story is
Maybe we should leave the news topics out of there.
Why?
No, I'm just kidding.
Moral of the story is, do what you can in your daily life.
Oh God.
What?
No, I'm just saying the news topic.
Do what you can in your daily life and encourage others to do the same, and vote to make changes, and I guess, spread the good word.
What? Spread the good word.
Spread the good word that we're killing our earth and we need to make changes to stop killing our earth. Excuse me.
So
and donate to the Australian wildfires.
Yeah. Today's random fact of the day is less than 25% of people stay committed to their New Year's resolutions. After just 30 days, and only 8% accomplish them.
Yeah. It makes sense.
I know it does.
Most people make resolutions that are very like
I think
unachievable, and when they don't like do it well the first try, they're like, nah, it's impossible. And then they
What was your New Year's resolution? I don't think you did it yet.
My New Year's resolutions are to do a daily gratitude journal.
No, never happened.
I have to get a journal.
Well, you have one right there.
Yeah, I never said starting day one.
Oh, okay.
I didn't actually say New Year's resolution. I said it is my intentions for 2020. No, I said my 2020 intentions.
Okay. I don't think I had any this year.
Yeah, so close the yapper.
Go on. What was your other ones?
So make a daily gratitude journal where I write down one thing a day, and then do a yoga 30-day challenge to start, and then just, try and incorporate it from there. Because I do enjoy it. And last year, remember we were on like a kick where we went for like 3 weeks doing it all the time?
Yeah, it was good.
It was nice.
Yoga's very hard to do.
I think we stopped because we got sick.
Yoga's hard. Very hard.
I like it.
Like,
I don't find it as hard to do because I'm more flexible than you are.
I can go to the gym and like work out, but then I do yoga and I'm like,
but
my arm.
Those are my goals.
But I think it's true. I mean, every year we always do this, like, what is everyone's New Year's resolutions? And then everyone's like, oh, we're going to do this, blah, 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 blah. And then we'll do this. And then I always.
Mine last year was to drink more water, and I definitely failed at that.
Yeah.
Because I'm terrible at drinking water. I forget.
Yeah. That's why you got to get that, that bottle that, like, reminds you, sends you a text message.
Yeah, I probably would just ignore
it. Just silent.
Yeah, I just would be like,
ignore.
I'd just like uninstall that.
But it's like, but Rachel, please drink me.
I actually got one once that was about drinking water. And
what?
I just uninstalled.
Oh, an app. Yeah, okay, I was like,
no, just an app that would every so often be like, have you drank blah blah blah? Or it was like this cute little water thing, like this little water droplet, and I was like, uninstall after like 2 days.
Get out of here.
Don't judge me.
So our story of the day. What is my story of the day? This could be any story. This could be any story. What is your story of the day?
Of the day?
I like these new things. They're interesting. It's a good flow. It's a good flow.
Does it have to be something that happened today?
No, it's a story of the day. Just like you have to tell a story.
Just a story?
Yeah.
Of something that happened?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a good story. I probably should have thought of this before I wrote this down.
Probably.
Let's see.
Ouch. Well.
You don't have any stories?
I went to the grocery store this morning.
No, that's not a story.
And I went to Shoppers and I got some air conditioner.
No.
What do you...
I don't know. Maybe we should leave that out.
No, you don't have to leave it out. It's been a busy few weeks.
Yeah, it has been.
We took last week off because we just were doing things like crazy. Oh yeah, we went to the football game.
Yeah, we did.
Went to a first NFL game that I've ever been to and that Travis has ever been to.
Oh my god, it was so cool.
It was my dad's Christmas present, so me and my siblings and all of our partners all went.
Yeah, when I found out that we were going to a football game, I was like super pumped because it was live. And like anytime anything's live, so much better. You know, Disney, live, better. You know.
When have you ever seen Disney live?
Watching puppies being born live, better. Even though I've never seen that.
I've never seen that either. It was interesting though. We had like the second from the very last row seats, like all the way up there.
Yeah.
But you could still see.
It was cool. I mean, I was like, oh, like I know about football. I just don't really watch it at all.
The only thing I didn't like was how like crowded it is. Like you have no room. You're so close to the person next to you, and somebody smelled really bad.
Yeah.
Like wet feet.
That's football.
It's not like a locker room. I was like, is this just how this football stadium smells? And then my dad was like, no, not normally.
Yeah.
It just was like someone near us smelled like a gym bag. It was awful. But like the game was fun.
They had potential beef jerky there, like homemade beef jerky, but I never got it.
Potential beef jerky?
Yeah, it was potential. When we got there, they're like, we sold out. I was like, God damn it. But
we ended up I got chicken fingers and fries, and you got
gyros. It was good.
And then you kept burping gyros for the rest of the game. It
was good.
And I was like, stop.
And I had like a gigantic beard too. We've been watching. So the other day, I was like, what movie did we recently watch? Oh, we watched Into the Spider-Verse, right?
Oh yeah, that was so
that
good.
Movie is so good. Magnifique.
That's the movie that we tried to rent 5 times.
Yeah, and I remember in our last podcast we were talking about.
And it kept giving us "Don't breathe."
Yeah.
And we were like, no! So finally, when we were trying to think of what movie to watch last week, Travis was like,
Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse.
But the other day, I was
finally got
like,
to watch it.
we were playing a game called Villainous. It's a board game. It's really, really fun. We'll talk about it probably in the future because somebody on stream actually bought it for me. So that's really cool. But playing a game called Villainous. And basically, it has a bunch of Disney villains in it. And you have to fight each other and do certain cool powers and stuff.
I was Jafar.
I was King something. What's his name? King Leo? From Arthur? Or... from... You know that...
King Leo from Arthur.
No, from... From Robin Hood. King somebody. I was...
Not King Richard, his brother.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I was King somebody, and yeah, so that made me want to watch the movie.
King Leo from Arthur.
So that made me want to watch the movie. So I was like, oh, let's watch the movie. So we started watching the movie. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, this movie's not...
I was enjoying it.
Okay. First of all, I wanted to watch it, but every time I looked at Rachel, she was like she looked a little bored. So I was like, that's okay. So we were watching like 20 minutes of the movie. Then I'm like, let's just watch Dr. Pol. And then we did.
Well, the thing was that I told Travis, no, the day before, he was like, tomorrow it's gonna be my choice what we're gonna watch, and I want to watch Robin Hood. And I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And so when we sat down, I was like, it's your choice tonight, whatever we want to watch. And so you could not make up your mind.
No. And so I was like watching 30 minutes of that. Then I'm like, I want to watch Dr. Pol. So then I watched 30 minutes of that. Then I'm like, yeah, fine, we'll watch a little bit more of Robin Hood. So we go back to Robin Hood. I'm like, let's just watch Last Chance U. And Rachel's like, oh my God. It's hard to watch like an older movie like that because like I was like, oh, I always think that they're like more entertaining. It's not a bad movie, but that's what we watched.
It was funnier than I remembered it being.
Yeah, it was pretty good. But definitely Into the Spider-Verse is so good. I can't wait for them to make another one. The next one's
Are they making another one?
Yeah, 2021. So be pretty interesting. Yeah.
Another Spider-Verse one?
Spider-Verse, yeah, it's gonna be, and then they're also making Zootopia 2 and 3. Pretty excited. So
Great. Put that on we love Zootopia.
We do. You like Zootopia.
It was good, but I've never thought about it since the day we watched it.
No, the day after she was like, "Oh, I love this movie."
I thought I liked Spider-Verse way more than I had heard it was really good, but I don't generally like superhero stuff, and I don't really care about Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But it was funny and it was interesting, and the art style was really cool.
The art style was so good.
With all like the comic, like once he got bit and all like the comic stuff that pops up around him, it was really cool.
Really cool. So we basically have this like list out I'm going down because I'm like, okay, we want to make it like flow, right? So next up is quote of the day. And Rachel said, I don't want to come up with a quote of the day.
I'm fine with like preparing a quote of the day, like looking up a nice quote, but like I don't do improv. I can't just come up with a quote on the spot.
I said, well, fine, we'll just do Saber's quote of the day. So Saber, what's your quote of the day? Well, Travis, I have plenty. Wait, and then I was like doing advice. Rachel's like, that's just an advice, Saber's advice. When you get treats, ask for 3. That's Saber's quote of the day.
Ask for 3?
Yeah. But then I wrote down advice of the day for us. So I think my advice for the day are when you're feeling anxious, remember to breathe slowly, and that'll help you calm down. Also, my other advice of the day is that if you are feeling well, I think our next podcast should be about anxiety. I think that'd be kind of cool.
We can do that. I
think because we have to do one right after this anyways. So, but we'll talk about that.
We won't go through the list. We'll just do an anxiety podcast.
I think it'd be kind of cool because we can talk about that quite a bit. What's your advice of the day?
My advice of the day would be to not go to the grocery store when you're hungry because then you buy
oh my god
a lot more things than you actually need because you're just hungry.
I've been not allowed to go shopping with Rachel, unfortunately, anymore.
Yeah, no.
Today I was like, I'll go with you. She's like, no. She's like, you have to clean up. I was like, is it I have to clean up or is it because I can't go shopping with you because I always buy too much stuff? And she's like, yes.
If I spend like around say $150 on a normal grocery trip, if Travis comes, it's $250.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, I don't know. He just like
it's
sees things and it's like he just tosses them into the cart as he's walking. He doesn't even know what they are.
Well, because I always look for the most random stuff, and then after when I eat them, I'm like, why did I get that? Like,
and he'll take like one. It'll be like some weird chip, and he'll have one. He'll be like, I don't like that. I'm like, oh my god, that chip bag was like $5.
Except the one recent discovery that I did was dried mangoes, and Rachel's obsessed with them.
I do love them. They're so expensive though.
Yeah.
I feel like I should see what they're like at Bulk Barn because that bag was $17.
I know, it's crazy.
Like it does last us a few weeks, and they're good for you, like as far as a snack goes, dried fruit. But oh my gosh, it's so expensive.
It is.
Stupid.
So, and then we want to basically, I think our podcast has grown pretty good. I think it's pretty good. I mean, I've compared to like how it sounded when we first started doing the podcast. It was all scratchy and blah, blah, blah.
Was it?
It was kind of scratchy.
Yeah.
Well, it sounded like it sounded like we were yelling across the room. Is what it sounded like. But in the future, I think we're probably gonna get a microphone dedicated to here when I upgrade mine in the other room. It'll be kind of closer to
We
us.
could just get those like little individual ones we were talking
We
about.
can try to. Well, I think we can try doing that. I don't know how it would work because we're sitting so close together, but I think it'd be kind of cool. That's the only other thing I can think of, and maybe some artwork behind us, which we're gonna have because of the D&D room.
It would just have to be the same artwork as
Yeah.
it is for D&D.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So on our next podcast, because we're gonna do one right after this, so you're gonna see us in the same clothes. Nothing's gonna change. Oh, by the way, today I'm drinking
I
water.
guess I could change my shirt.
I'm drinking water today, by the way.
And I'm drinking Earl Grey tea.
Earl Grey tea that smells like exactly like candy.
Fruit Loops.
So in our next podcast, instead of doing this, we can do.
No, we just came up with this new format.
Yeah,
Screw it.
Yeah, let's just throw it out the window. Well, I mean, we can't just go through it all again because then people are gonna be like, "Man, what the heck's going on here?"
Yeah, no.
But we did miss last week's podcast. That's why we're doing back to backs. So our next one will be like a short little segment on anxiety because we wanted to talk about it a little bit. Unless you think of a better topic that you want to talk about. No.
No.
You want to cover anxiety? Okay. So the next topic is going to be about anxiety. So if you have anxiety yourself, or if you're like, I'm sure everybody has some form of anxiety. If you don't, then you're a superhero. Then yeah. So we're going to cover that in like 2 seconds. So I'm going to close this segment off. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you in 2 seconds.
Goodbye.
Okay, bye. Bye. We'll see you in 2 seconds.
Goodbye.